Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakal Kodash. I want to say double honors to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth sincerity. This is Ra'ab Amafa at the Nebraska camp. This is GMS and he pushed to the mark. As you can see in post-production, we have an article here where it says, let me just go straight to the article. Netflix being sued for $2 billion by Egyptians for distorting the image of Cleopatra in new documentary. And this was published, I believe, last year, June 2nd of last year. So let's get to the article. It says in April 23rd, and this is a an ironic thing. As you can see, Cleopatra is depicted as a dark-skinned woman, and for the record, Cleopatra is not a dark-skinned woman. Okay, Egyptians at a certain point were dark-skinned, just like Grecians or Greeks. The original Greeks were of the tribe of Japhet. Okay, and I believe the Egyptians come from the stock of the Sudanese. Okay, the real Egyptian, original Egyptians, put it like that. But through Israelite immigration, through Joseph and Moses and all that, and Edomite takeover, that had changed dramatically, specifically in Egypt. Okay, in April 2023, it was reported that lawyer Mahoud Samari filed a case against Netflix via the public prosecutor over its portrayal of Cleopatra in its new series. The decision to take legal action against Netflix was due to the casting of a black actress as a historical figure and was labeled as a crime. Now this is crazy. Now these Egyptians on point. These Egyptians on point. Why? For one, why is it cool when Esau, see here. Let's get the scripture. So when you go into First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48, it says, and laid open the book of the law wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their image. Okay, and I'm not referring to Cleopatra, I'm referring to Yahushai and them making him a Caucasian male. Okay, Caucasian, string-haired, blue-eyed, so-called white guy. Okay, and this shows you how serious it's taken. But what they always tell Jake, our color doesn't matter. Why are we arguing about this when it's really about the message? But here it is, Netflix. I don't know if they won this case or not, but they're willing to put up a $2 billion. This is $2 billion worth of a crime. So how much more of Yahushai? Okay, and it ain't about money, but it's a comparison. If that's $2 billion worth of a crime, how much more of the Savior of the nation of Israel? Okay. And if you want to go into the Christian light, how much more of the Savior of the planet Earth, have like they want to say it, of every human being, they should be eradicated in comparison. All right. But let's get back to the subject at hand, because this is funny to me. This is, things being portrayed and showing you how other nations, how you should react. Other nations pretty much are showing you how Jake should be reacting to the defacing of Yahushai. Okay? It says, this is despite Cleopatra not being of Egyptian origin. And instead, historical records state that she comes from a line of Macedonian Greek heritage. More so, the Ptolemaic dynasty ruled over the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt for over 3 centuries, which is super true. It's a fact. All right. And the thing is with Jake is that they don't want to study. They just want to master move. So he was the richest nigga ever. We got a richer king than you. That's how Jake is, man. Y'all got kings. We want a king too, and our king is better. Like, look here, bro. But Jake don't really. It ain't about Cleopatra. It's about a woman being in power. It has it's a black woman being in power, so-called black woman being in power, and to come find out she's not even black. She's not even so-called black. She's not even a Negro. Now you mad. Now you mad. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing. We're the true children of Israel. Why are you trying to chase the energy of this world, man? The glorious people in that time can't compare to Daniel's Ruth, and she's not even an Israelite, but Sarah, Rebecca, there's countless of women, that are more of an historical figure, and that's crazy because our women would chase after Cleopatra before they chase after Sarah or Rebecca. Okay, and the Lord holds them in way higher account than any of these women will ever be held in. But then in the same breath, you would praise the Most High, you would praise God, and you'll go to church and you would clap. You know what I'm saying? And it's really not about the greatness of your female counterparts. It's really about you projecting and wanting to be a queen, looking down on niggas and everybody else. That's it. And you're just trying to live vicariously through the Cleopatras and all these other people. Okay? So, I want to get out because there's a comment that he made. He said, most of what Netflix platform displays do not conform to Islamic and societal values and principles, especially Egyptian ones. Read a statement detailing and grievances. And by the way, that bald-headed thumb of a head, Will Smith's wife produced this, man. So that should tell you, and the way she treats Will Smith, she thinks she Cleopatra. It says Egyptian was restatement detailing the grievance. In order to preserve the Egyptian national and cultural identity among Egyptians all over the world, there must be pride and makings of such work. You see, but where's the pride in Yahushua being dark skinned? Everybody say, "Oh, color doesn't matter," But look how Egyptians is coming at Esau for playing games, man. So color clearly does matter, and they're telling you what we've been trying to tell everybody for the longest, man. Okay, but they're taking it in a worldly manner, trying to sue and things like that. We're not going to sue. We're going to hold court with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, it says, however, in the latest development of this story, as reported by our friends, a team of jurists and archaeologists have submitted a letter to UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, are seeking $2 billion in compensation. See here, I don't want to jump into anything that's not worth it. Okay. It says an Egyptian lawyer has filed a case against Netflix due to its portrayal of Cleopatra in its upcoming drama series. Queen Cleopatra stars American actress Jada Pinkett Smith as Cleopatra, according to synopsis. This bitch, she's been trying to. She ain't acting. She been doing this in the mirror for years. As Egypt's last pharaoh, Cleopatra's fight to protect her throne, family, and legacy is this dossier featuring reenactment and expert interviews. They like, man, hey, Egypt, them Egyptians, so-called Egyptians, say, hey, man, y'all better tighten this shit up. But it says, however, as reported by the Egypt independent lawyer Mahmoud Al-Samari, has filed a case via the public prosecutor. I'm going to just get to the point. It says, due to the decision to cast a black actress as Cleopatra, he has described it as a crime. So we know y'all doing what y'all did to Yahweh Shai and all the Israelites. That's a definite crime. Blamed the Netflix management team and has stated that he wants legal action to be taken against the people who made it. Most of what Netflix platform displays do not conform to Islamic and societal values, you know. But there's a part within this article that uh, um, that they said. Trying to find it because I don't want to read all this, aimlessly, aimless statements to get to a point. It says Zia Hawass, the former Egyptian antiquities minister, claimed the portraying of Cleopatra as a black woman is falsifying facts and said this is completely fake. Cleopatra was Greek, which is true, meaning that she was blonde, not black. And they pretty much said that Netflix pretty much like to push a certain energy, especially when it comes to Jake and the Black Lives Matter and all that, so yeah. I'm just reading a little bit. Yeah, so at the end of the day, let me read this real quick. It says Netflix Cleopatra documentary fails to do justice to the fascinating life and legacy of one of history's most captivating figures, adds Tatiana R. If this is a documentary, then so is Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's a fact. It said there are, of course, some positive comments, such as Cena, who said, I liked it. I thought it was a fun way to show off Cleopatra, whether it's 100% accurate or not. That's all it is. It's just trying to show a black woman in the light, but they don't want to get into the real light of black women, or so-called black women, which is, which is current. It's like I'm reading this at the same time, lost my place, but let's get to some scriptures. Let's get to some foundational statements. Let's get to some historical facts as to why why it's been said, and we agree that Cleopatra indeed was an Edomite. Okay, so once you go into historical accounts, Cleopatra the first, Cleopatra the seventh is the one that everybody drools over, you can say, which it's alleged that historically she wasn't all that good looking. She just had some swag to her. That's what's being alleged, but I wasn't there to say how she looked. Okay, Cleopatra the first was a daughter of Antiochus the Great. If y'all know who Antiochus the Great is, look him up. That's a pure Edomite. This is king of the Seleucid Empire and Queen Laodice. Okay, so all that really started, and these are biblical accounts, so Jake just need to get into their Bibles, man. All right, that's all it is. Because again, when you go into Daniel's 11, it goes over that. It says Daniel's 11 in 1. It says I'll go into Daniel's 11 and 2. Matter of fact, I started Daniel's 11 1. It says, and I also in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. All right. And now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia. I believe it's Slakia. It says, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all, and and by his strength his riches shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. And a mighty king shall stand up and rule with great dominion according to his will. Okay. So when you're talking about Grecia, that's really, going into Alexander taking over those 4 kings. Okay. And when you go into those 4 kings, all right. So going into the 4 kings in particular, that goes into after Cyrus, it was Cambyses. There's a magician, Smerdis. You don't really count him, but it's Cambyses, Darius, and Xerxes. the Xerxes, which is the richest, the one that's the richer one. Okay, um, so going back, it says verse 4. It says, "And when he shall stand up, his kingdom, his kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided toward the four winds of heaven." All right, and that's and not to his posterity, which is his kids. Pretty much, was it Lysimachus, Antigonus? I think Lysimachus wasn't, already in there, but Antigonus, Cassander, Ptolemy, Seleucus, uh, uh, Cassander's, Antigonus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Seleucus is the king of the Babylonian area, and then Ptolemy is the king of the south. Where you could say Seleucus is king of the north, and Ptolemy is the king of the south, which is Egypt. Okay, again, um, when we go into historical accounts, like I read earlier, in going to Cleopatra the First, she was daughter of what Antiochus the Great, king of the Seleucid Empire, and Queen Laodice. Okay, um, she was married because they often married. For one, clear point is that the Ptolemaic Empire, I believe it's Seleucus. I get it mixed up, but they I believe it's the Ptolemaic Empire. They intermarried. They were very keen on intermarrying within each other. They are married within. They pretty much married within kingdoms to keep kingdoms at peace. That's pretty much making contracts, through the dowries, and I think Berenice Theos, or the Berenice, when her name was after the dowry, her dowry was Egypt in itself, a good portion of Egypt. But and we'll get to that as well. But it says Cleopatra the First, Sira, was from 204 to 176 BC, was a princess of the Seleucid Empire, queen of Ptolemaic Egypt by marriage to who? Ptolemaic V of Egypt, a regent of Egypt during the minority of their son Ptolemy VI, from her husband's death to 180 BC until her own death in 176 BC. Okay, so this right alone should stop all that thinking that Cleopatra is a Jake, or she's a black woman, or African, or Negro. She is neither of the bunch. Okay, she is just a powerful woman that was in Egypt. And it was Edom. Eventually, it was Edomites sitting on the throne. Okay, just like there's Edomites sitting in our land right now. That don't mean that those are the original people. Okay, and again, the original people are Jake. The original people are the Sudanese. Okay, so-called Sudanese. All right, because Egyptians was known as being what? Tall. All right. It says, and when he shall stand up, Salakia, I think I read that. Yep, talking about the four kings. Verse 5, it says, and the king of the south shall be strong, which is Egypt, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. Yeah, because really Egypt was, because of its grain, it gave them a lot of power. Because in this time, Rome was not a part of Greece and everything. So Rome was a really big ally to Egypt historically, and especially during the Syrian wars. So they got a lot of power through their grain, through their land, their resources, and alliances. It says, in the end of the years, they shall join themselves together, for the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement, but she shall not retain the power of the arm, and neither shall he stand nor his arms, because I believe it's Laodice. I forget the chick name. She was Ptolemy was, I believe it's Seleucus or Ptolemy. But one of them got kicked out from being a wife and bringing Berenice, and then pretty much when the dude died, they brought the other chick back in, and she pretty much got Berenice up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Through assassination. I believe she assassinated her husband as well. I have it somewhere here in Aparatazar. We passed by it. But it says just before his death, Ptolemy V had been planning a new war against the Seleucid kingdom, but Cleopatra immediately ended the war preparations and pursued a peaceful policy because of her own Seleucid roots, and because a war would threaten her hold on power. Cleopatra probably died at 178 or early 177 BC, though some scholars place her date in late 176. So, okay, that's the first Cleopatra. All right, which just proves that, the stock of Cleopatra are Edomites. All right, but we're going to continue to Cleopatra the second. She was a queen of the Ptolemaic Egypt who ruled 175 to 115 with two successive brothers / husbands, and her daughter often in rivalry with her brother Ptolemy the eighth. Okay, so they often intermarried. Again, this also refutes the fact that they could have been sitting on a throne with a Negro woman, because they really only married each other. And Egyptians in themselves promoted that same nature of brother and sister marrying. So with incest being pushed, that's further incentive to say that Cleopatra wouldn't no Edomite on no throne sitting with no Jake woman. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, Edomites were just plain out ruling. And when you go into Alexander, he never changed. He never had the concept of changing people's rule, the way they ran things. And that idea was passed down. Really Cyrus did it, by allowing us to build our wall and do everything. And then Alexander followed the same concept, especially with Egypt and Babylon. He allowed them to keep their customs and things like that, and just infiltrated it and then claimed it as theirs. That's all they did, which is way more devastating than just taking over and eliminating, or so-called eliminating, because now once that lie is in there, you don't know who created the, so-called pyramids, why they shut off the nail noses and all this, which Jake, we all know that, Israel and Hamites built those pyramids, but that's what their attempt was when they was doing all this, and most of it worked, but going back to Cleopatra II, she ruled from around that time, and her father was Ptolemy V, and her mother was Cleopatra I. So the first Cleopatra I read is Cleopatra II's actual mother. All right. Now, when we go back to Cleopatra I, I believe this is the different. I believe it's the same, but like what's going on is that they name all of them. Cleopatra is just a name, a title. It's just like Darius. It's just like Epiphanes, or Antiochus. A lot of these names are successor names. Okay. So Cleopatra I, or Cleopatra Thea, okay, Cleopatra Thea, Cleopatra goes back to the goddess. It goes back, and she was ruling around 164 to 121. Surnamed Euthria, good harvest, fruitful season, was the ruler of the Hellenistic Seleucid Empire. She was queen consort or Syria from 150 to about 125 BC. Okay, so there's two different Cleopatra. The Cleopatra Sira, or the first, she was around 204 BC, but Cleopatra the first, Thea, was around, let's get it right, 164 to 121. She was queen consort of Syria from about 150 BC to about 125 as the wife of three Syrian kings, Alexander, Demetrius, and Antiochus VII Sidetes. She ruled Syria, from 125 BC after the death of Demetrius Nicator, eventually in co-regent with her son Antiochus the eighth, Agrippus. Okay, now this Cleopatra, I believe this is the Cleopatra that was actually Berenice as well, but don't quote me on that right now. It says Cleopatra Thea was a daughter of Ptolemy the sixth and Cleopatra the second of Egypt. All right, so this is the Cleopatra we read before. This is her daughter. She had two brothers named Ptolemy Eupator and Ptolemy, respectively. Her sister Cleopatra, respectively. Her sister Cleopatra III was queen of Egypt and married Ptolemy the eighth, an uncle who had been former co-ruler of Cleopatra Thea's parents. It is possible that Berenice, the fiancée of Attalus, king of Pergamum, is another sister. All right, Cleopatra Thea married 3 times. Okay, so that's the context clue that I was reading and referencing. Okay, that it says it's possible that Berenice, the fiancée of Attalus, king of Pergamum, is another sister. So that will make Berenice one of the sisters of Cleopatra the second. Okay, so this Cleopatra Thea, she's referenced in the book of Maccabees. First Maccabees 10:57 says, so Ptolemy went out of Egypt with his daughter. Okay, Ptolemy went out of Egypt with his daughter Cleopatra. They came unto Ptolemaeus in the 162nd year, where King Alexander meeting him, he gave unto him his daughter Cleopatra, and celebrated her marriage at Ptolemaeus with great glory, as the manner of kings is. Okay, so that's proof that that's what conspired. Cleopatra Thea grew up in Egypt as a daughter of Ptolemy and Cleopatra II. She was probably born 164. She may have been engaged to her uncle Ptolemy VIII, king of Cyrene, in 154, but he eventually married her sister Cleopatra III, queen of Alexander Balas. Right? So in 152 BSC, her father, who had came into conflict with the Seleucid king Demetrius I, chose to promote Antiochus IV's son. So this is what we was reading at in Maccabees. First Maccabees 10:57. Okay. This is that Alexander the Demetrius, Jonathan as well is in the mix, against him and supported him with troops and officers. When Alexander triumphed over Demetrius in 150 BC, he requested Ptolemy's daughter as a warranty of alliance. The two kings met amid sumptuous ceremonies in Ptolemy's Akko, and Alexander received Cleopatra in marriage. The marriage soon produced a son named Antiochus VI Dionysus. Okay, so if y'all want to sit there and claim that Cleopatra's a black woman, then them Ptolemies are black too, then, because they all come from the same mother and father. Okay, that's how bugged out Jake is. But Jake just be clout chasing. That's all that is. Okay, it says Ptolemy and Berenice. The Ptolemy and Berenice of the era were both Greek and Egyptian. Their heritage became a very prominent symbol in their reign, taking from both of their parents' cultures and intertwining it into their rule. Berenice's father, Ptolemy the ninth Soter, who became king of Egypt in 116 BC, with his mother Cleopatra III and his co-regent and the dominant force in government. He was initially married to his sister Cleopatra IV, but his mother forced him to divorce her and marry another sister, Cleopatra Selene, probably in early 115 BC. It is not certain which of these wives was Berenice's mother. All right. But at the end of the day, they were sisters, so they both was of the same stock of Edomites. Cleopatra IV has been favored by some modern scholarship. Historian Christopher Bennett notes that Berenice III's legitimacy was never questioned by ancient historians, unlike her brother Ptolemy VII and Ptolemy of Cyprus, and that Ptolemy's the ninth's marriage to Cleopatra IV seems to have been considered illegitimate, making it more probable that Berenice III was a result of a legitimate marriage to Cleopatra Selene. In this case, she was probably born in late 115 or early 114 BC. So the whole point is that the ascension to the throne, sometimes it was like bastards, sometimes it was people that were supposed to be, you know, heirs, type of thing. Like they said, and you could get a better picture of it when you go into shows like Game of Thrones and things like that. I know it's a fictional, but it's a good historical replication of marriages and deals and pacts. Okay, Cleopatra V. Okay, moving on down. Says she died around 69 BC, 68. All right, we're getting around there. We're getting close. Was a Ptolemaic queen of Egypt. She is the only surely attested wife of Ptolemy VII. Her only child is Berenice IV, but she was also probably the mother of who? Cleopatra VII. Okay? It is unclear if she died around the time of Cleopatra VII's birth in 69 BC or if it was her daughter named Cleopatra VI who co-ruled Ptolemaic Egypt with Berenice IV. In 558 BC, during the political exile of Ptolemy VII to Rome, no written records about Cleopatra V exist after 57, and 2 years later, Berenice IV was overthrown by Ptolemy VII. His throne restored to the Roman with Roman aid. All right, so that shows you that, like I said, there was Rome was helping out Egypt, a whole lot because of their grains. Okay. It says, because of the poor body of source material, Cleopatra V is a very obscure member of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Only a few ascertained facts about her are known. Many aspects of her life are the subject of controversial theories. In all known ancient sources, she is given the byname, Tryphena? She may have been born this name before ascension to the throne, when she assumed the traditional royal name Cleopatra. In some modern specialist literature, Cleopatra Tryphona, wife of Ptolemy VII, is referred to as Cleopatra VI. The historian of a classical antiquity refers to her as Cleopatra VII. The percentage of Cleopatra V is not recorded. She may have been a legitimate or illegitimate daughter of Ptolemy IX, or the legitimate daughter of Ptolemy X. It is mentioned that in 888 BC, Ptolemy X, Alexander, fled Egypt with his wife Berenice III and his daughter Cleopatra. Tryphena might be this unnamed daughter. Okay, so which it has a high possibility that was his daughter. It ain't like somebody just pop up out of nowhere, man. But going into the latter end of everything, okay. Let's see here. I got the right one. So when you go into Cleopatra VII, it says she was the queen of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt around 51 to 30 BC. So this is the last so-called queen of Egypt, who was an Edomite. You know what I'm saying? It says a member of the Ptolemaic dynasty. She was a descendant of its founder, Ptolemy the First Soter, a Macedonian Greek general and a companion of Alexander the Great. After the death of Cleopatra, Egypt became province of the Roman Empire, marking the end of the Hellenistic period state in the Mediterranean and of the age that had lasted since the reign of Alexander. Her first language was Greek, and she was the only Ptolemaic ruler to learn the Egyptian language, which is why they said, okay, yeah, she, even because it's even argued that she was they sat on the throne with a Hamite or whatever, but the male still was a Edomite, if you want to roll with that theory, okay? But at the end of the day, getting back to it, says in 58 BC, Cleopatra presumably accompanied her father Ptolemy VII during his exile at Rome to Rome after revolt in Egypt. Okay, um, a Roman client allowed his rival daughter Berenice IV to claim his throne. Berenice was killed in 55 BC when Ptolemy returned to Egypt with Roman military assistance. When he died in 51 BC, the joint reign of Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy VIII began, but a falling out between them led to an open civil war after losing that in 48 BC in Greece against his rival Julius Caesar. Um, the Roman state Pompey fled to Egypt. Pompey had been a political ally of Ptolemy VII, but Ptolemy VIII, at the urging of his court eunuchs, had Pompey ambushed and killed before Caesar arrived and occupied Alexander. Caesar then attempted to reconcile the rival Ptolemaic siblings, but Ptolemaic chief advisor, blah, blah, goes on and on. But the whole point is that this legendary figure in history is not a Jake. Okay, she's not an Israelite. She's not a Negro. She's not African. She's not a Hamite. She's an Israel. She's an Edomite, and she's a daughter of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which is the kings of the South. Okay, just like I went into Daniel's 11. Was that 11 and yeah, it says 11 and 6, and in the end of years they shall join themselves together, for the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that stock comes from. That Berenice stock comes from the Ptolemy line, and the Ptolemy line of Edomites, because those Edomite generals, Alexander took over Egypt, Babylon, Macedonia, and some other places in the Asia Minor area, or the Asia area. I don't want to, just be naming stuff out like that. But once he died, those rulerships dispersed into four winds. Okay, like I said, Macedonia, Asia, Seleucus, which is the north, and the Ptolemy is in the south. Okay, and they all fought each other for power. Meanwhile, Rome was doing what they was doing, and Greece was, pretty much, fighting over what they gained, what Alexander gained in land and territory and riches. And pretty much the Ptolemaic Empire ended up getting the upper hand, really from Rome, and just having that grain in the allies. You can read a lot about all these wars in the Maccabees and the Syrian wars as well, and Daniel's the 11th chapter as well. But the whole point is to go into how ironic that, these so-called Egyptians are suing Netflix for billions of dollars. But anytime we tell people that, Yahweh Shai is a dark-skinned man, the Israelites are dark-skinned, they like to reference that color doesn't matter, when legally they consider this a $1 billion lawsuit. So how much more for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai? And we don't want money, Yahweh Shai don't want money. Okay, he's not going to be able to be bought or reconciled with any of these futile resources that you have, So with that being said, I hope this was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kakadash Brakatham. Shalom. Shalom.